Pais.
Good morning, Miss Nurma.
Okay,
Good morning, Miss Suha.
Morning, nice to meet you. Yeah, Aziz.
Yeah, still remember me?
Long time no see. Yeah, very nice to meet you again.
Okay.
of course, Professor Minsu remember you, Pais. we are at the same team, right?
Yeah.
Can imagine,
Nice.
it takes 1 year.
Yes,
Almost 1 year, yeah.
almost 1 year. Another team will join on YouTube. So
Okay.
Winda and then another lecturer will join on YouTube because
I see. Yeah.
the Zoom meeting only for the students. Myself, Mr. Ayis as the lecturer of evaluation, and
Yeah.
then Miss Budi Utami as the lecturer of performance assessment course. So there are two
Okay.
courses that mixed together to have your meeting.
Yeah.
And next week.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. After this music over, we will start.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Miss Nurma.
Okay, we will start now. Okay, Pak Ayis, you can check whether your student is not coming yet. You can try to catch them. And then
Okay.
Miss Budi Utami, yes. Hello, Bu Budi, good morning. Yeah, Bu Budi is there. She's ready. And then also try to check the students, the 16 students of the class of Bu Budi Utami, and then 80 students from Pak Ayis class. Okay. Good morning, Professor Minsu, Ph.D. from Kangwon National University, South Korea. And then good morning, Mr. Isma Aziz Fahrudin, Master of Education.
Good morning, Miss Nurma. Good morning, Minsu.
Morning. Yeah.
Okay, and good morning also Miss Budi Utami, Master of Education. And my students, 96 students that come to this special guest lecture. Minsu wrote it in the slide, and this is the second time we met Professor Minsu Ha from Kangwon National University, or we call it KNU, right, Prof. Minsu?
Yep.
Yep, KNU. And then last year we have you at the same program, visiting professor, but we do it offline. It's very nice to have you last year, but because the pandemic, the age of pandemic, we should meet in this Zoom meeting. Hopefully next year everything will be better, so we can meet in person again. Thank you very much. And then our dean, Dr. Mardiana, will join on the second session. So next week he will join us to talk to you again, because we met him already also last year. We had a dinner together, right? And also he welcomed us very, very nicely. Yeah. So in this occasion, in this special lecture, Professor Minsu Ha will give the theme, artificial intelligence, so the application on science education, especially in open-ended automatic assessment. So students in this class and evaluation, the course evaluation, and also course of performance assessment, please make it all this clear. And then when you not understand, you don't understand with the lecture, or also you want to have a more explanation, don't hesitate to raise your hand and then try to get to Professor Minsu. That's very honor for us to have you again, Minsu. Thank you very much. On behalf
You're
of
welcome.
Science Education Department, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Sebelas Maret University, thank you very much. This is the second activity, and then hopefully the next project, the research, everything. And we also will have you again in 28th of October, on 20th of October, 2020, in the international webinar together with speaker from Netherlands and also from Sebelas Maret University. Yep. I will not try to have a long speech. This is only for the welcoming speech to make you get more spirit, I hope. Okay, and then time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Norma, and I feel very honored to have the second talk for the Sebelas Maret University, and I'm very nice to meet you again, and I'm very happy to make this talk. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. Yeah, try to show. Oh, can you see me my slide?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Today I'm going to talk about open-ended assessment and automated computer scoring. And actually last year I did this similar talk at the Sebelas Maret University. Had a very good time there. And unfortunately, because of Corona, we're not able to make the face-to-face the lecture. And then it's this kind of the lecture, I think, through the via like Zoom or Skype, it's kind of distance learning. And then now in distance education, distance learning is very widely used and very common because of the Corona pandemic. Um, and then actually, automated computer scoring is very useful for the distance education. Now, many teachers have difficult in capturing students in the learning and like difficult in capturing student understanding because of they cannot communicate efficiently with their student. So sometimes they might want computer or artificial intelligence to check their students is going very well or not. So that's why a long time ago when I studied about automated computer scoring, we always emphasized this automated computer scoring technology will be uh, used for the distance learning. Like at that time, MOOC, the MOOC, and personalized computer tutor. And then those are the strongly needed computer scoring technology. So I always emphasized that one. And then now suddenly, because of the Corona pandemic, so this technology is very getting more useful. So maybe it's good time for me for my study, or but still I don't like this situation. So I really hope everyone will be safe and healthy from the corona. Okay, let me start my talk. Oh, I want to change my the point option maybe. This is more clear, right? So briefly introduce, I want to introduce my academic career. So many people, maybe many participants don't know, much about me, and maybe have different idea from maybe the lecturer are from the computer science in other department. Actually, I did my BA and MA master at the Korean National University of Education. My major is biology education, and I'm working for the College of Education now and Division of Science Education. I'm teaching science teaching method to my pre-service teacher. And my thesis topic at that time are the evolution concept, misconception, assessment, and conceptual change. So I'm a very education person, you know. And the PhD, I did my PhD at the Ohio State University, and yeah, I also my major is science education, and my advisor is also a science education researcher. But at that time, my dissertation is about the machine learning and automated computer coding because we did a lot of the study about the machine learning and new technology for the open-ended assessment. At that time, we developed a lot of open-ended assessment, but as you know, it's not easy to score open-ended assessment, the student response of open-ended assessment, right? So we developed the computer scoring model using the machine learning method with a lot of computer science programmer and web designer. And so my role is about developing open-ended assessment, not developing automated computer scoring model, but we gave them the human score data. So basically, machine learn from human. So I was the teacher of for the machine, and the machine learned from me, and they developed the computer scoring model. So why and how I do such a computer-based study for science education is very easy. We need open-ended assessment, but everyone doesn't like scoring. This is very, simple list. And how I did, yeah, just working with computer science programmer and computer science or the researchers. So these days, one person cannot do everything. So right, so we need the convergence. So I work a lot of people and finally make the computer scoring system. Okay, I would like to start with the creativity and open-ended assessment. Many people are skeptical how creativity and the open-ended assessment are connected each other. Um, Dictionary definition of creativity is the mental and social process associated with finding new idea, concept, or combining those new idea concept. It's very simple definition, and think about, when we solve the problem, we need to come up with the idea, my knowledge first, concerning about the problem. So, like coming up with the idea from my brain, my memory, like recording my knowledge is the first step of the creative solving problem. So, people need to recall the knowledge related to the problem very quickly. Otherwise, we cannot do such a creative problem solving. So recalling is very important in a competence for the problem solving, especially creative problem solving. And then since long time ago, we have used the multiple choice test rather than open-ended assessment. The biggest difference between multiple choice test and open-ended assessment is about recalling knowledge. Yeah. Uh, so when you just remember when you solve the multiple choice and open-ended assessment, So basically, the format of the multiple choice assessment is that usually the question has the several options, and you see the options and thinking about what option is the best, is the most correct. And then you just compare each options and, oh, maybe this option is more likely to be the correct option. This option seems wrong. Okay, yes, so maybe the option A is the correct answer. This is the like a process, cognitive process to solve the problem. And so many information is actually in the question. So the option has all the information and you just compare and see and compare the information in each option, right? But think about open-ended assessment. So what is photosynthesis? Explain scientifically. What is evolution? Why snail has the toxic? Explain scientifically using your knowledge. There's nothing. So basically, you need to recall the information from your brain to your memory. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. You cannot guess if you cannot recall your knowledge. So, that's why, the student are exposed to more open-ended assessment. Their recording ability to record the knowledge is getting improved. This is already so many scientific journals already confirm and identify this fact. So here this slide, the authentic science practice. What is authentic science practice? Actually, authentic means, what practice is really important to our life. When someone asks you why you study, and why, if we ask a student why you study in school, those studies for our life to solve our problem, right? So science practice, authentic science practice is really for our life. So just think about our life. When you go to, our life, there's so many problems. Today actually, I came from my apartment and I used my car, and, and so many things that I have to solve, and then there's no option. And, in the real life, there's no option. I have to make my own decision based on using my knowledge and based on my previous experience, but there's no option. So I just make my own decision. This is the real life. And also, think about when you go to the restaurant and there's menu, and you really want to eat nasi goreng, but the restaurant option doesn't have any things, and then someone asks you, what is your favorite food? And then, so basically they ask you you can order your favorite food, but you want nasi goreng, but there's no nasi goreng option. You just find the best option for you among in the menu, like the food in the menu. So the menu actually is not your most favorite food, but just the best in the option. So here two example, I would like to talk about the best option in the several option is not near yours. It's not something that you really want. You understand? So just best option, but not yours. And second one, real life doesn't it's not like multiple choice questions. Every time is open-ended. So you guys need to make your own decision and your own explanation. This is our life, and our science study should be fit to our real life. So scientific science practice is it's not multiple choice assessment. It should be open-ended assessment. So student need to be able to build their scientific explanation and argument. And they have to use and organize scientific information, right? And then they need to communicating their idea clearly and efficiently, effectively. And think about when you do the multiple choice assessment, do you have any chance to communicate? You just checking or marking. You just mark your the what is that the OMR the paper, right? You just using the pen. You just make a black color, right? So communication is not very important competence these days. But there's no chance to communicate their idea with the multiple choice assessment. So many reasons. There is so many reasons to use open-ended assessment. And then, yeah, here, yeah, another slide, competency. So multiple choice assessment. This first, the multiple choice assessment is very familiar, right? It's not less familiar, still a lot of, school, middle school and high school, and usually in a large size classroom in the university, still many professor, lecturer want to use multiple choice assessment, right, rather than open-ended assessment because, many reasons. Yeah, I will explain about the reason. Okay, oh, here is, I put the Korean, I don't know, some of you guys can read Korean. So here, I will explain. The open-ended assessment, the government want to expand more open-ended assessment. And finally, students go to the private tutor academy. So paid academy, right? Not the school, like a tutor or small, like, in Korea, private education, private, academy is very good business, and, people, parents spend a lot of money for that. So more open-ended assessment, parents, spend more money for the education for their student. And why? It's very simple, Uh, so, why the teacher and many people cannot use open-ended assessment? First of all, it's not easy to score, assess a student response. This is most important reason. Teacher have very limited time for their student, right? It's about working hour. So in Korea, 40 hour per week. So we cannot ask the teacher for the more work, but we cannot hire more teacher for the open-ended assessment. So in Korea, let me explain Korean situation. The midterm exam, final exam, so every year 4 times, right? First and second semester, two important, the exam, midterm and final exam. Teacher must use like a 20% and 40% depending on the school level, and 20% and 40%. Some middle school has, 80% open-ended assessment. This is, requirement. So some high school use 100% open-ended assessment. Usually in a good school and like in a private school, and they usually have more teachers. So when they score like a midterm and final exams, so only the 4 times per week, per year. So think about, do you think you can score student response, 4 times a year? Maybe you can, right? So just 1 time for 3 months. So I can do for my student, and then I can do if open-ended assessment is really important. But think about the exam is based on open-ended assessment format. Exam is open-ended assessment. Student must be prepared to do open-ended assessment. They need to practice. They need to write their own explanation and check whether their explanation is correct or not. But think about it. So many students, they want to practice and they have their own explanation. And who can check the student response? The student, do the practice. Maybe teacher, right? But teacher doesn't have such amount of time. Every day, student, if student come to teacher and, hey teacher, can you check my explanation and can you check my, answer, and teacher can score a midterm and final exam, 4 times per year, but cannot do those, activity every day for their student, that's why student cannot have the feedback. Using the multiple choice assessment is the feedback is very easy. If you choose option one and then you have this, you have to study this one. You choose option two, then you have to study this one. So multiple choice test only the limited option. Feedback also limited. But the open-ended assessment is a student explanation is not limited. It's so many expressions can be used in the student response. That's why the human or someone need to check student answers, student language, student expressions. But teacher cannot do. That's why how how student solve this problem. Only way is that to go to the private education. They may need the tutor, so they spend more money. And then the educational gap between higher social scientific social the economic status and the lower socio-economic status people. So this is problem. And then oh yeah, here is the table to show. So multiple choice assessment only capable of exposing small set of problem solving process. Very limited option in the result from the multiple choice assessment doesn't show this student can solve the problem, and only show this student know about this knowledge and can choose the correct option. But open-ended assessment, are capable of exposing a large set of problem-solving process. So, open-ended assessment can show this student can recall right knowledge and can solve the problem and can use a scientific language and can communicate efficiently. So we can take much more information from open-ended assessment, right? This is, it's more specific and mixed model, So for example, students actually have two ideas. So one idea is scientific and another idea is, misconception, kind of wrong idea, scientifically wrong idea. So, they have both. Actually, students believe both, explanation might be true. And then, multiple choice assessment, they ask, maybe still, the multiple choice assessment can ask student can choose, every option that student believe is correct. But, most multiple choice assessment and ask the student choose one. So in this case, we cannot check the student have the both idea. And later, I will explain about mixed model, and then mixed model is a little bit different. Mixed model is that, student explain the natural phenomena, right? Nature using both scientific idea and naive idea. So one explanation has both ideas. So in the multiple choice assessment, the option usually one option are explanation to the nature. So option doesn't have the both scientific and naive idea. But student can write their own explanation and they can use both scientific and naive idea. So this is mixed model, and next slide, I think I can explain. I prepared so many slides, so okay, now it's 7 slides, and among the out of 45. So we have 2 hours, right? So maybe I hope I can finish 1.5 hours and 30 minutes. We can have the question and answer time for question. And this is, the good things. And then the bad thing, the fast feedback. I will explain why fast feedback is very important. And the cost, is very important, right? Because, we need the grader assistant to score open-ended assessment, right? Grader management also important. For example, I heard Dr. Norma have 90 students. You have 90 students, and you use the open-ended assessment, and you have two teaching assistants, and give your exam to the two different assistants because you believe it's too many things to score. So, but one assistant is very generous. Another assistant is very strict. And one generous, the grader give a lot of, very generous score, And then another, strict assistant, like very strict. And even though, student answer is quite good, just give, oh, I cannot give the good grade, just only, give the like C. But another grader is very generous. Every student, he just give A. This is grade management. It's very important if we have large size classroom. Okay, here's so many reasons why we need to use open-ended assessment. So, diagnosis. So here, diagnostic. This is the 5E learning cycle model. Maybe I believe some of you guys know about this model. 70% of textbook is based on 5E the learning model. And this is developed by the BSCS, Biological Curriculum Science Study, right? American textbook company. The curriculum, the like a development research institute, BSCS, and they put engaged And the last step is evaluations. And first step, a teacher needs to do diagnostic assessment. And last step in the evaluation, like formative assessment. Why? Why the teacher do the diagnosis and formative assessment before and after class? Because the teacher need to check the student learn from the teacher. And before the teaching, the teacher, student don't know. And after teaching, the student must have the knowledge, right? The teacher need to check. Another one is more important issue, is the constructivism. Student engage the teaching. Student have their own knowledge. Student have their own knowledge, their own idea, which is mostly the previous the like a student idea before class is scientifically naive and scientifically wrong idea. We call it misconception. Um, some student have misconception, some student doesn't have misconception, right? And then misconception is very diverse. So student have a misconception, and then teacher need to remove a misconception, and then go to the teach the scientific concept. And if student have B misconception, and teacher need to take care of B misconception and move to the teach the scientific concept. So every teaching is based on student misconceptions, student alternative ideas, student pre-existing idea. This is constructivism-based teaching and learning. That's why we need to understand how student explain what is the student pre-existing idea. And then think about and how I can remove, how I can, correct student wrong idea, and how I, make the scientific ideas more useful and more plausible. And then, the teacher should be able to make the, good teaching, and student can make the good conceptual change. And this is the actually, what we can learn from the 5E learning cycle model. And we have to do, the teacher need to do diagnostic and formative assessment before, after classroom, for many reasons, to check the teaching and learning is going well. And also, student can change their concept, and conceptual change is successfully done. In this slide, I like to explain our instrument, ACOS. Here in the reference, here is reference, like, Nem and Ha and 2011, offer Nem. Nem is my advisor, back row, and we developed the open-ended assessment to test the student reasoning about the natural selection, its evolution. So this is open-ended assessment. And you can see, contextual reasoning. What is contextual reasoning? So this explanation, this question, a species of rat does not have a tail. How would biology explain how this last species with our tail, without a tail, evolved from the ancestral last species that had a tail? And this This instrument, we can easily replace each context. Like lad, here is lad, and maybe grape and snail and other flowers. We can, easily change the species and trait character. And interestingly, we found students make very diverse explanation, very diverse. Acorns test is about natural selection. Natural selection is scientific idea, and there is fixed scientific idea. So we believe students' response is very similar across different contexts. For example, bacteria. Bacteria evolution is just evolution. So should be same with the cheetah evolution explanation. Oh, is no problem? Any problem? Wait. Yeah, I can hear. So if you have any problem, let me know. I just quickly saw your, face and, just worried, there's any technical problem. So, okay, continue. We believe student should be able to make the same explanation across different contexts, but it's not. Students use different explanation uh, about the cheetah evolution, about the bacteria evolution, about the rose evolution. This is very important because this is, very, it's about the novice and, the difference between novice, like a student, and expert, like professor. This is, actually, this theoretical model from the How People Learn, very famous book. Now you can search How People Learn in the Google and please download because it is published by the National Academies of, Press, like managed by the National Research Council, America, USA. Anyway, you can later, search read the book How People Learn and novice reasoning and expert reasoning. What's the difference between novice and, expert? Novice use a contextual lens. For example, when students solve the problem of cheetah evolution, they start like a cheetah context, not the evolution, the scientific model. So what is cheetah and what cheetah eat and where cheetah live? They usually start with the cheetah's life, not the evolution. Bacteria also, they think about bacteria, not the evolution. We ask them how they evolve. So they have to use the scientific model, evolution, but they usually start with context, cheetah, bacteria, rose. Contextual reasoning is not sometimes it's not very good problem solving process. In a good problem solving process, they have to use the scientific model, which is evolution, like a photosynthesis model. Do you think the rose photosynthesis are different from like a tree photosynthesis? No, right? Just same. The both are same. Cheetah evolution, bacteria evolution, and rose evolution, basically same process. Cannot be different, like coronavirus evolution. Cheetah, fail, everything is mostly same. So this is the variation, heritability, hereditative, variation, different survival. This is scientific model. This scientific model is should be applied to the different context. Same, they have to use same model, but student use different model across the different contexts. But we found at the time in this the paper we found only open-ended assessment can capture this contextual reasoning. Actually, there was the multiple choice test about the natural selection. The name of the assessment is CINS, SINS. But my advisor a long time ago did a lot of the study about comparing multiple choice tests and open-ended assessment tests, and he found only open-ended assessment can capture contextual reasoning. And contextual reasoning is very important to differentiate their reasoning level. Like if student can use the scientific model across different contexts, that means this student have expert level reasoning. On the other hand, one student have the different idea across different contexts, then we can say, oh, this student have the contextual difficulty and a very novice level reasoning ability. So when you buy apartment, when you buy the breakfast in the food store, we always think about the theory about economy, right? It should be same, when you buy, in everyday life, we must have the one theory to make the economic decision. It's the same thing, you know. So in the context, sometimes it's important, but sometimes it's not important, and sometimes it is problematic. It is problematic to make the good decision. So that's why we need to check student contextual reasoning, whether students have contextual reasoning, contextual difficulty, and open-ended assessment can capture that one. Multiple choice cannot. That's why we need multiple assessment. This is actually the main research question in our study, previous study. And here, show the mixed model. This is the student explanation. And one explanation has both misconception. Red color is misconception, and green color is scientific concept. In the one explanation, student use actually one explanation have so many the element. For example, when we explain the photosynthesis, so many things we have to use, right? Like a photosystem and the sunlight, energy, like the hydrogen ion and membrane, kind of. So explanation has so many elements. And then students sometimes use the naive idea, misconception, and scientific idea, very harmonized, and make one explanation. But we cannot say, oh, this is wrong and this is right. So that's why mixed model is very important. If students have mixed model, that means student did not finish conceptual change. So still, they keep their previous idea, like pre-existing idea, and just add scientific idea. And usually those students later, when we test follow-up exam, suddenly, this scientific idea is gone. And only the the naive idea is existing. They just go back to the. So we have to clearly remove their pre-existing idea, but it's kind of failure to do that. This is the meaning of the mixed model and why we have to check the mixed model. If students have mixed model, still there is the misconception, and we have to take care of the misconception. Otherwise, later student go back to the level the student did not class. So maybe so your teaching is the meaningless, right? That's why we need to check student mixed model, and previous as I explained, open-ended assessment is very good and useful to check the student mixed model. So this is another reason to use the open-ended assessment, right? There's so many reasons. Oh, here is the key concept and naive idea. These are the key concept and these are the naive idea. And student often use, all together. So, we need to check. Student have this idea, and student have this idea, And another issue is that in an explanation, so many elements there. So we can check whether student have this idea, whether student have this idea. So there's so many different conceptual elements in the student explanation, and we have to check everything. And open-ended assessment, one open-ended assessment can capture everything. If we test such a very complex idea, like evolution. In biology, evolution, photosynthesis, like cellular respiration, many important concepts. It's very complex. There is a lot of element and a lot of misconception, and the open-ended assessment is very useful to test the student idea about such a complex system, complex idea. And then, here, so far, I have explained about why we need to use open-ended assessment. There are many reasons. First of all, like cost and efficiency, like management issue, like time and money. And another issue is actually it's more important, right? Another issue is about teaching and learning, like 5-year learning cycle. We need to examine student pre-existing idea before class, and need to assess, uh, the student idea after class, so that we can figure out, my class is going well or not. And this is the formative and assessment issue. And also, more, specifically, I talked about the mixed model and expert novice issue. This is more close to problem solving, the research theory, and then that's also another issue that we need to use the open-ended assessment. And I want to move to fast feedback issue. Why we need to use fast feedback? Still, we don't really need automated computer scoring. If we have more time, if we have more grader, we can use the open-ended assessment without automatic computer scoring. If we have, we have time, it's okay. But we don't have time. immediately we give the student the teacher's feedback. So, we collect the student response about automated the open-ended assessment. So I collect like 100 student paper, like a paper, and bring it to my home and score like over the weekend. I really good student, so I can do that. I can even though I cannot enjoy my weekend, I can score. And then next Monday, I can give the student the score, right? In this case, we don't really need to have the automated computer scoring system. But we cannot do fast feedback. Still, 3 days, 4 days gone. Next week already, 1 week, 7 days 7 days are gone, passed. When you make the feedback, I don't really think students still remember their response. Already forget everything. And then, cannot feel conflict. So just believe, oh, I was stupid. Oh, teacher feedback. I might be, better later. This is all. So immediately we give the feedback to students. Multiple choice test is very good and useful. And then maybe some of you guys are familiar with about like the suddenly these days Google, like Google survey, many teachers use the Google survey for their classroom. And oh yeah, car, oh my gosh, suddenly car, what is car, K-A, car, where's the keys, make a keys and student application. I forget the application. Huh? Is there anybody
Kahoot,
to
Kahoot.
know? Oh yeah, Kahoot. Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God. Yeah, Kahoot.
Yes, Kahoot.
Kahoot. Kahoot. Many Korean teachers use that. I sometimes not open, but I also use that, and very interesting, right? Student enjoy. Kahoot. Yeah, Kahoot. Thank you, Nirma.
Very welcome.
So fast feedback is important. I'm going to explain about fast feedback. Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe I put the same. So clicker is very widely used the tool in the United States. Students have the small remote controller, and this is a system, like classroom system. Maybe they use the now currently a lot of the application, like a smartphone application. But the student don't want to use their smartphone for the class, you know. So they have the small controller, and teacher show like the question in the screen. And student, the small remote control have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and recently they have the text sending text system, and then here is the system, we call it clicker. And here is classroom, and then teacher show the the question, and then student answer using the remote. And then immediately they show the result. Okay, how many students choose number 1? How many students number 2? It's just the same with Kahoot, right? Kahoot. And computer also record each student, each remote controller user's response. This is all in one system. So the teacher have two advantages. So first of all, in the classroom, quickly make the feedback. So quickly make the assessment. Okay, so for example, they teach the number one is scientific concept, right? And spend 3 hours teaching. And about almost like, how many students? Maybe 25% of the students still have the wrong idea. Like when teacher found this situation in formative assessment, right? Like almost end of classroom, end of the class, he found, oh my God, 25% of the students have the wrong idea, even though he spent 3 hours. Still, those students can remember what teacher explained. Maybe conflict between option A, option 1 and option 4. And then if teacher have the remaining time, like some extra time, have to remind, have to explain again, and I have to tell the student, oh my God, so many, students still have number 4, you know, and then, explain, please, you have still wrong understanding. You have to remember my explanation and, ask the student who choose number 1. And please explain, number 4 student, why number 1 is scientific. And if the successful, just finished class. And if not successful, immediately, the teacher need to correct the student idea. Otherwise, this student permanently have the number 4 is, number 4. And then, never change, number 4, their idea to the number 1. If unless the teacher correct the student. But think about like next week, the teacher need to correct the student idea. Teacher have to do the class again because usually the student forget many things immediately. So if the student have complete, the teacher need to correct. So not sure you guys understand. So now in the classroom, students have the conceptual complete. So now I heard about 1, I heard about the 4, and still it's complete, which is the scientific idea. And still I believe 4 is correct, option 4 is correct. But I still remember number 1, right? Because in the classroom, if student is good student, I already heard about many things from the teacher. So still my memory has the option A, but still option A is not doesn't sound like scientific idea. Still my idea, option 4 is more likely to be correct. But they're complete. When students are complete, teacher easily correct student idea. Because this is based on conceptual chain theory. Maybe some of you guys know about Posner's idea, the 4 criteria to change the concept, like dissatisfaction, and must be understand, the must understand and must be plausible, right, and useful. So conceptual chain theory. So dissatisfaction is based on cognitive conflict. That's why during the class, teacher need to collect student idea. In order to correct, the teacher must be able to understand what students understand. So they need to quickly check uh, using the system. But think about the open-ended assessment. How we can? How we can test the student open-ended explanation within a second? That's why at that time we developed Evo Grader. This is my dissertation in a product. So I'm going to explain the principle. Very simple. The teacher show the exam, and this is iPad or the clicker to send the text. And Evo Grader in a 2 minute make the result and show the result. And then teacher, uh, maybe here 2 minutes, here 2 minutes, the 4 minutes actually need. Maybe during the break time or 4 minutes is quite very small, you know. Um, so for example, like still pure scientific is good. Mixed model, oh my God, almost like like 12%, and pure knife still about 12% student doesn't change their idea. And the problem is, 25% student doesn't have any scientific idea, cannot answer. And red color is the knife idea, still strongly connected to the scientific idea, right? Evo grader system just take the 2 minutes to score. Not like a 30 student in a large classroom, kind of 700 students in one classroom. 700 student, response, if they here in a 100-hour score, the 700 student item, but Evo grader just take the 2 hour. This is power of the automated computer system. It's not about the efficient, like the time management. Uh, you know, Still, some university can cover, this time and this cost. They can hire, 7th grader. But, still, grader management problem, right? Every grader assistant have different idea. Their scoring is very different. Time might be okay, but, cannot do fast feedback. It's not about the grading, grade is not the most important thing. Students here doesn't have any idea, and teacher need to correct immediately and remind student immediately. Otherwise, teacher don't care about their idea, current situation. So immediate feedback is very important. This is student response. I at that time, when I did my dissertation, 20,000, more than 20,000, 25,000 response essay I scored. Actually, Evo grader system, this system used about like 12,000 human score data. My score and my advisor score, my colleague, we have the group. We score 12,000 data and trained computer. Developing Evo grader still require a lot of, labors, a lot of time. But when we develop the system, everybody can use, right? This is, the advantage of the computer scoring. At that time, my advisor paid about like $16 per hour. We hired the paid grader, and one grader can score like every hour like about 12, sometimes very lower level, like the like first year student or not the expert level, 12, like one's essay score uh in the 5 minutes to take it is 5 minutes to take to score. It takes 5 minutes to score the one essay. So the 1 hour they can grade only in a 12 essay. I have to pay $16. And then in the score, this one essay, almost $1 at that time. Very expensive, right? But this system, it's very save a lot of money. And then, I'm going to move the AI system. I'm very okay, but I think just, continuing, the lecture, right? So, and then, I don't, so it's okay, right? To skip the break time. I'm
Yes.
very okay. I'm, the saving in the time, I think is more important. So I want to deliver more information, and if my speech is very fast, then maybe now the Dr. Norma record this instruction, and then you can later see again. Okay, here is AI. Actually, I explained a little bit about AI. AI is, artificial intelligence. It's just, similar things with our brain, memory, and and like a CPU. It's like like a decision process. Just mimicry with our brain, similar one with our brain. So AI is computer-based system, and just save the information and logical reasoning. Usually CPU has the this task, right? Do this task, and storing information, saving information is memory, hard drive, flash drive. So, in order solve the problem, we have to have two, we have to have the memory, right? We have to remember all the knowledge. We have to use the knowledge in my memory. And we have to use the reasoning, like decision making. Basically, AI system can do both. It's computer. So that's why AI can learn from the data like human. Our knowledge, is something that we have learned from the data, nature, right? For example, here is cat, here is dog. So cat and dog, someone say these are cat, these are dog, and then the babies, maybe you have your baby or nephew, uh, like the picture book, these are cat, these are dog, and the cat is blah, 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 and dog is blah, blah, blah. And your baby or your nephew learn, oh, what is difference between cat and dog? Okay, okay, this eye is different, ear shape is different. The machine also can detect difference between cat and dog using the vision process, vision technology. Just comparing the photo, and just think about all the pixels, color, whatever shape. And okay, cat has the cat's rule, dog's rule. So the photo has these rule. Then okay, this is cat, this is dog. AI can learn from the data by comparing two different things. Automatic car also same. There is rule, right? There is rule like the traffic lights green go and red color is stop. Traffic light is green, but someone is in front of car stop. There is rule. Cat dog also have the rule. The ear shape, this is rule. Eye color, this is rule. Automatic car, the driving is also based on rule. Rule-based things, everything based on rule is something that artificial intelligence can do. If there is rule, every data must involve the rule. For example, like if your car has the camera and sensor, and then you drive, the machine learn, okay, red color, my owner driver stop. But they can save the data, right? Every red color, my driver stop. Every green color, they move. Something in front of the car stop. The driver stop if something is in front of the car. So computer save all the data and do same thing after the AI learn from the data. Just mimicry, just resembling. So if there is rule, the AI learn the rule from the data. Oh yeah. For example, this is the correct explanation. This is long explanation. Should be divided by the rule. What is the rule? The scoring rule. For example, you believe, okay, here is photosynthesis question. Student must use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. This is rule. For example, students don't use the three core idea. You cannot give the score. Those response without the those language, those terminology scored as a 0. And student use those idea, then you give the score. So good essay has the concept and bad essay doesn't have the concept, right? Why? Because you score based on the rule. So just give your data to computer. Computer just compare good answer and bad answer and can find the rule. The rule must be similar with your scoring rule. So here is the feature expression. Here is the important feature. Okay, mutation, genetic, population, fit, offspring. These are important keywords. Then, okay, this machine can learn. And just click, then, the computer finish learning from my data. and easily to make the computer scoring model. Actually, this, the process is very simple, but not that quite simple, because we almost, spent 1 year to develop the rule scoring model. So it's not very easy, but still, it's not impossible. It's possible. This is, the data, we use, 10,000, you know, think about, in order to make the computer scoring model, to teach computer, we need 10,000 data. But, think about, every classroom has the data, right? Teacher has so many the data that they have scored. So data is everywhere. So we can collect the data, right? In the classroom. This is, like, machine learning parameter. For example, like, removing misclassified data. This is kind of show the process. Not important. But, see, the accuracy is different. So when we use certain parameter, the accuracy is different. This is why this is important, in order to develop the computer scoring model, we have to check what information this AI really need. Some information is make noise. Some information is important. So every day, we need to check the whether AI is studying very well or not. So this result showed that one. So we need to check, this is good AI. This is, not bad, but, worse AI, right, compared to this one. So this system showed more accuracy, yeah. And this is a lot of, the process. Anyway, the process requires human labor. We check everything, And finally, this is correspondence measure. We use Ko and kappa, and the kappa is zero 0.8, almost perfect. Because, if you have two grader, their scoring agreement is over zero 0.8. We call it just same. Over 0.6, we call it, they're similar. So, 0.8 is our benchmark. So we really want to have in the 0.8, but 0.6 also okay. This is our system, evaluation system. See, every model has the over 0.8. So we believe, our computer system is basically, same, the scoring level ability with the human expert, not just, the scorer, just, expert level human. So we believe this is very accurate and very reliable. So, and then we develop the scoring system. So Evo grader, this is the explanation about Evo grader. And unfortunately, service is done because, the MSU, Michigan State University, and they have one project, and they have their own the system. So now this system is gone, but still there is a lot of, commercial, or, I will double check, how we can use the Evo grader again. So research trend automate scoring, this is our group. So you can search, as I explained, this group has the combined big system. So Evo grader system is no longer available. This is the AACR group. I worked for this group. Marshallin is very, very famous, science education researcher, and they did a lot of study about automated scoring. and they found automated scoring system can improve student concept and academic achievement. So students can practice more and more open-ended assessment, can improve their explanation. And another, the professor, University of Delaware, the Joshua Wilson, uh, the professor also, studied a lot of, the computer scoring, and then usually focused on motivation. And students very, they are very engaged in, computer scoring, because think about, there's no teacher, just they answer and like typing and click, and computer say, oh, you're good, you're bad. If you got the feedback, just answer again, and suddenly, oh, you're good, and the students feel very happy. This is like gaming, playing style. So many students say they feel like playing. And the feedback is not sensitive. This AI, the teacher don't know. Student got such a feedback, like less, sensitive. AI system, first, Alice Page, he is the professor of the educational psychology. 1966, he came up with this idea. And ETS is, biggest the research center about the computer coding. You know about the ETS, Educational Testing Service. They manage the TOEFL, TOEIC, a lot of English and GRE, and they study about the computer scoring too. And these days, so many people, researchers doing the computer scoring study. And I'm one of the thousand, researcher, I'm not unique. So also, China, Taiwan. Think about, China. Uh, Population is right. So big population, and uh, Korea is 50 million. Your country 5 times bigger than Korean, right? So how many, like 250 million, right? Year. So if we developing the computer scoring model, actually require same amount of budget. So when we develop the Korean system, when you develop the Indonesian, computer scoring system, actually require same amount of money, right? But you have the 5 times more users, then much cheaper, right? So Singapore use English and China use the Chinese. So those, the big population, language is take more advantage from the computer scoring research, right? You understand what I mean? So the China and English, for example, Indian can use, because India use the English, right? So Indian student can use the ebook grader. They use, so many people, billion, 16 billion. Suddenly my numbering system, English, as long as they use English, they can share their automatic computer scoring system. Same language they can share. So that's why, Indonesia should be like interested in, this system. Yeah. Okay. Why automated scoring is matter? The first or move, distance running, right? Learning management system. So easily students get the feedback without teacher's help. And Every student explanation is recorded in the system. And customized education also important. So when the student have different level of idea. For example, A student have the idea, and student can skip, right? And student B doesn't have the idea, then student B need to study. So assessment first, and the based on assessment result, computer give the task. This is about customized education, individualized, personalized, customized. To do that, we need to use the computer system. Assessment, automated assessment can be used to assess a student pre-existing idea, and based on assessment result, computer give the task, the study topic. So for example, today I have to study A, B, C, and D. And computer assess my knowledge, and finally it turns out I already know about A and B. The remaining idea is only C and D, right? So I need to study only the C and D, not the A and B. So I just study about C and D. Computer give me the task about C and D. Then I save 50% of my time, can do more creative the creative education. Active learning. Active learning is student-centered education without teacher. So student can drive their learning without teacher's help. How? Think about role of teacher, teacher's role. Teacher give the feedback, and student do the make student make the their like like learning process. In order to prepare learning process, student need the teacher's feedback. Oh, you have to study this one, this one, this one. And they can, student can drive. So teacher's feedback is the first step of the active learning. So student must rely on the teacher. But with the computer scoring, student don't have to rely on teachers. Without teachers, student can do that. And computer scoring is everywhere. If student have the Wi-Fi, right? Then space and like place doesn't matter. Student can make the active learning without teacher with the AI scoring. So we can do more creative learning. We save a lot of time, and this is about cognitive bias. Yeah, later I hope cognitive bias is one of the my biggest topic actually. I'm science education researcher, and computer scoring is one of my research topic. Another one is biggest one is the cognitive bias, and I actually make more paper about cognitive bias. But AI and cognitive bias is strongly related. So student, in order to remove in order to oversmart cognitive bias, still need to think again and again and again based on the feedback. So more thinking is very useful. Thinking more is useful to remove or reduce cognitive bias. Cognitive bias is bad one. So in order to remove or reduce level of cognitive bias, they need to think more and more and more. And they need, feedback and feedback. But, the teacher cannot do that, right? That's why we need AI. So, and also we save a lot of time, right? Here. then we can spend more time to creative thinking and creative education. Here is my, actually, maybe hope, Dr. Norma, remember in the last year, we are in a third year project, we will develop.
Yep.
So we almost developed. Actually, we finished. But now issue is that the decoration. So the web design company is make decoration, and I hope the webinar, the October 28th, I can show our like image. I'm like, yeah, we can do right now. Why we have to wait? Yeah, still
Maybe
you can
on
see, right?
28th October is better, and then, well,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Then just later. So it's good for advertisement, right? So you
Yes.
guys need to enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Webinar. I will at that time. I will show our design and the system.
Yeah.
So now almost finished, and maybe next month we need to do the field test with the student, and we developed the system. We call it Y system. Y is web-based automated assessment with artificial intelligence. Is Y, and every question has the Y. So why the sound similar. So our system, name of system is Y. So later, you can use this QR code and go to this website. This is our first version of computer scoring. And you can just, translate system, and you can enjoy this system, and you can get the feedback, Like our first system is very simple, Now current system is very complex. I don't think I can explain our current system, all the function within webinar, time. I don't know how many minutes I can take, I can use for the webinar. But now current system is very complicated. But our previous, the system is very simple. Like question and answer, student answer, and click. Here our logo. Actually, I changed this our character. And webinar, I will introduce our second version of the Y robot teacher.
Why?
So I say, just explain your answer, scientific answer. Please explain. And their answer, student answer, and like unhappy, and please explain again, and here is hint, and teacher student back to and answer again, and okay, this if you put more effort, you can make a better explanation. You're doing good job, because in this explanation not perfect. And teacher, the student do again. This is perfect. This is, perfect explanation, and this robot, good job. And this is the concept. This is the example of the right explanation. This is our system, first version, and second version, the new our logo, new our YouTube, whatever, I will show the October 28th webinar.
Yep.
And so this is our system, very simple, based on automated computer scoring. And we did field test at that time, and many students can enjoy this system and learn a lot without teachers' help. So we believe, automatic computer scoring will im, uh, improve student, the explaining ability, and will improve student knowledge level um, without the teachers, the lot of effort. So this is, done. So thank you so much for your kind attention. It's quite very long, talking, and without the break time. But yeah. So if you have any question, this is time for
Yeah.
question.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Minsu. Yep. That's very nice presentation, very interesting presentation. And then I'm sure that the students are very excited to know more about this. Jadi tadi sudah jelas semuanya ya. So everybody has already understand what Professor Minsu developed for the first, the second, and the third year. And then last year, Prof. Minsu shared that the third project has running, but now it's complete. And then the launch, maybe the soft launching will be conducted on the 28th of October because we have international webinar on science education from our department. So be ready for it. We have Prof. Minsu from South Korea and also Professor Jolingen from Utrecht University of Netherlands, and one also speaker from our university. Okay, students.
You can give me the questions through the chatting
Yes.
room here.
You can
I
post.
already have the translating the here system. So you can. I'm just curious. You write the Indonesian and I can use quickly translate and I can understand. Don't need to use English.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So anybody just write. But your Indonesian must be correct, right?
Yep. Oke, silakan semuanya. You can post your questions in English or in Indonesia, or maybe you can just say hello to Professor Minsu and then ask directly your questions to him. Okay.
Okay. Oh, got it. I have one, first question.
Yeah, from Bayu Rizky Prasadityo here, Minsu. What disadvantage of AI in education? AI. Yeah, what is the disadvantage of AI in education? The first questions, and then, and what competency should have as a candidates of teacher in the future to support technology of AI? That's the second one. So Bayu is now in the second year of undergraduate education in science education department. And in this room, we have the second year and the fourth year, Minsu. So Pak Ayis and Bu Ut can record the participation of this course, of course. Okay, Minsu, you can answer.
Okay, yeah.
Answer
This
questions.
is really important. I feel amazed, to have this, very important, like disadvantage. Maybe, thank you so much, Bayu. And then maybe later I will put this slide for this one. So disadvantage of AI, is maybe one of disadvantages bias. Recently, many the scientists, computer scientists report AI has bias. AI has make error. Error is okay. Every teacher make error. Never perfect, but bias is different. For example, language issues. So A student use very good language but doesn't know anything. But B students very poor language but know a lot. But then usually text-based AI system give more grade to the A student. This is bias, right? In a certain group, they give more. Or like a gender issue also, usually the male student, we already did some study about the spelling issue. Male student, you make a lot of, error, spelling error. Then, the AI system cannot grade. So male students take more disadvantage, right? Than the females. Bias is issue. And, but actually, so far we cannot find any. But for example, if you use computer scoring result to make the judgment, like a decision. For example, you use computer scoring system and then computer say, a student score is 20. And you use the 20 score for the record, academic record, whatever. This is not good. Because, but we can use computer scoring result for the education, teaching and learning. So A student is 20 score, 20 the point, and B is 10 point. Okay, I will teach more for the student B. This is okay. But you check the computer scoring result. Student A is 20 point and student B is 10 point. Then more the grade to the A student and less grade to the student B. This is not good. You understand what I mean? So, teacher just refer to the scoring, computer scoring, and try to use that for the teaching and learning, not the judgment. This is important. And but later, someday, people, if AI is very accurate, people want to use AI for the human judgment, but I don't want to do that. So our system never use the AI scoring to make a judgment. Just you're good and pass the next question. You're bad. We never use the scoring, and also the competency issue. Yeah. First of all, I hope the new teacher should be familiar with the AI. And what is AI? What is, for example, right? What is disadvantage and advantage of AI? Why we have to use the system? Why we need to use fast feedback? If you don't understand fast feedback, the importance of fast feedback, actually, we don't really need to use the automatic computer scoring. So the new candidate, the candidate of teacher, like pre-service teacher, need to understand all circumstance and need to understand the principle of the AI, like a machine learning system, so that what, and then you can understand how AI scores student grade. What is problem in AI scoring? So basic knowledge about machine learning and artificial intelligence, and basic knowledge about the like assessment, formative and diagnosis assessment. And later, if we have the computer scoring system, computer scoring system will be the assistant for teacher. And then later, you can, for example, like, computer scoring first and refer to the result and checking and, make the educational decision and preparing next class. And the next class is based on, computer scoring result, right? And then you found, many students here cannot understand certain idea that you can make up. So previously, without computer scoring, you have to test and interpret result and make the decision. But now, we have the computer. So, actually that saves a lot of time. So you and your AI both can prepare next class. So this is I believe, this is the competence that the pre-service teacher need to have. And then as well different about
Minsu?
yeah.
Minsu, I'm sorry. before we go to the second questions,
Yeah.
you can make an elaboration again a bit about the cognitive bias. Maybe you can go to the slide about cognitive bias as one of this disadvantage, right, of AI.
Oh yeah, but this is not about that. But if
I'm
you
just
have that question, yeah, bias. Human
yes.
have bias. Also, computer has a lot of bias. So so second question.
Okay, the second questions. Alice mau bertanya langsung atau mau bicara langsung ke Profesor Minsu? If you want to directly ask to Professor Minsu, you could turn your mic on and camera on if you want. Or Bayu, you can try to have more answer if you not 100% understand what the answer is. Okay, Bayu. It's okay. That's the kind of skill that you have to train. Bayu? Okay. So Minsu, let me make some resume for the student in Bahasa Indonesia ya.
Yeah.
For the first answer. Jadi tadi sudah disampaikan kelemahannya memang ada bias ya, bias error dari jawaban kognitif biasnya. Kemudian jangan sampai automatic scoring, automatic assessment ini dipakai untuk judgment. Jadi kalau untuk jadi assessment for learning is okay, untuk teaching in learning is okay, tetapi tidak untuk judgment, apalagi langsung dengan satu kali assessment bisa menjudge bagaimana level siswa di situ. Gitu Bayu.
Baik, okay, Bu.
Yap. You want to ask more to Professor Minsu or
yeah, there is the chatting room, there is the question.
The second question is Minsu from Alice here.
Yeah.
Alice is also from second year students. I have questions about the difference about temporal and economic code.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cost, not cost, the cost. So, the temporal economic cost.
Cost.
So economic, basically, multiple choice is, very fast, temporary, save a lot of time, and also, very cheap. Essay answer in the exam is, they require the grader, human grader. So, very expensive. And also, we have to wait for them to finish the grading. So take a lot of time.
Okay, temporal and economic cost. Jadi itu lebih kepada cost-nya memang lebih sedikit gitu ya daripada yang.
Yeah, second question also, so Norma, can I just answer?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you can now see the chatting room, right?
Yep.
Here, yeah. So the second, I just highlight, when you use multiple choice. Here is another issue, very important issue. So why your student like multiple choice? Because those students very adaptive to multiple choice. Their problem solving, the system is they like multiple choice. So some students are more familiar, more friendly, and more adaptive to the multiple choice. Like, because students use different ability to solve multiple choice and open-ended assessment. And, think about if teacher choose open-ended assessment, maybe those students who like open-ended assessment is more advantageous, right? And if the student, who like multiple choice assessment is less advantageous. So, they believe it's not fair. But, our education is toward the right goal. We cannot take our decision based on student preference. and student, like a certain students, prepared ability. So we have to think about what is more important. What is more important for the future? So open-ended assessment is more important for the future life, real life. That's why we have to use that. So, if students use more interest in multiple choice tests, you have to say, you have to change your problem solving process. You have to change your preference. You have to prepare the future 20, like already 21st century. It's very hard to, we can, go to the 22nd century. But anyway, the student need to practice explaining, arguing, recalling knowledge. So when you use multiple choice evaluation, because my student more interested in, if your student is more interested in multiple choice, then you can teach the student, change the style and more, you need to prepare the future, next, the future year, not, right now. I know the students are interested in, today examination, not the future life. This is problem. So all the system, the education, the educator, the governors always think about the future. This is education. You understand? So I think this is the important issue. And what is the choice, bro? How can you use multiple choice measure understanding? Multiple choice assessment can measure student understanding, but in a small set of understanding. And you cannot generalize the score, a lot. For example, you cannot say, you can say, oh, this student had such a knowledge, but you cannot say this student can explain. Even though student, get the correct answer, choose the right answer, good, but you cannot say, oh, this student later can explain to me. But student, write the right answer in an open-ended assessment, you're sure later this student can explain to me. This is difference. So you can use the multiple choice assessment for the to measure student understanding, but your interpretation should be limited. You understand? Yeah.
Okay. That's very clear from Minsu. Jadi sangat jelas tadi. That's the Arifin questions from the 4th year students in performance assessment class. Bu Ut bisa dicatat, Bu Ut. Jadi tadi sudah dijelaskan ya Arifin, kita harus membiasakan untuk memberikan open-ended atau IC ini karena kita mempersiapkan future generation yang mereka harus punya argumentasi, explanation gitu. Jangan memang bisa dengan multiple choice itu tetap bisa mengembangkan HOTS, tetapi mereka tidak punya kemampuan untuk berargumen. That's why Professor Minsu and team develop the open-ended questions. Yes, to optimize the argumentation skill and then how to explain the scientific phenomena and so on. Okay, another students, if you want to have questions, please just raise your hand and then say hello to Prof. Minsu. That's okay. Yes. Anyone? Okay.
I see Payu, hi Payu, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Payu there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see her, this the camera, yeah.
Anyone? Ada yang mau bertanya lagi? We have time until 10 o'clock, so we still have 5 minutes to go before we meet Professor Minsu next week in the second week, the 3rd of October. Yep. All those 3 students just write thank you in the chat room for you, Minsu. Ya, ada yang mau bertanya? Silakan lagi. Minsu, I have a questions.
Yep.
Okay, how about in the national examination in South Korea? Is there any examination in open-ended or in multiple choice, or which one?
The college entrance is only the multiple choice.
Okay.
But only the multiple choice. But teacher exam also very high stake test, and a lot of like employment exam is based on the open-ended essay. So 100%.
Okay.
And college entrance exam is multiple choice. Now, but recently we have the big survey to move the open-ended. So the government actually want to have that, because they want to change. Actually, exam change the education. Maybe you have the same, right?
Yeah.
Situation. So exam change the education. We want to have the open-ended assessment. Then education will change. Then student can practice more about explanation and argumentation a lot.
Okay. Yes, that's very good. Hopefully, Indonesia is also follow this kind of assessment. So this is the student teacher. So you all of you here would like to be a teacher and prepare our students generation with this kind of assessment. Is we contribute to generate more scientific, yes, more creative generation, of course, in 21st century learning. And your application is CRE zone. It means that creative zone or something.
Yeah, CRE zone is the government. That's the website. It's not only for my computer schooling.
Okay.
The website has so many information, materials for the creative education. It's managed by the COPA. Is big foundation of the government. CRE zone. Yeah, the name of the
CRE zone,
the website
creative
is
zone.
yeah. The name is good name.
All right. Silahkan, ada yang mau bertanya lagi? Masih ada waktu 2 menit lagi. Silahkan. Baru bertiga tadi ya, dari 2 dari 2019 dan 1 dari 2017. Anyone? Bahasa Indonesia nggak apa-apa, nanti biar ditranslate sama Pak Agis atau Bu Nurma atau yang lain.
Bu izin tanya lagi boleh?
Oke. Bayu mau langsung bertanya, silahkan.
Oke. Nanti bahasanya campur-campur nggak apa-apa ya, Bu?
Nggak apa-apa ya. Usahakan bahasa Inggris supaya Minsu understand.
Oke.
Silakan. Bayu has one more questions, Minsu.
Yep.
Di Indonesia kan ada penilaian tentang attitude atau sikap, Bu. Nah, itu dapatkah menggunakan AI untuk menilai sikap siswa gitu, Bu, intinya? Can use AI to access the student attitudes gitu, Bu?
Okay, so we know the authentic assessment, Minsu, that not only cognitive but also attitude and skills. Could AI also assess this kind of aspect? He asked about
attitude.
Yeah, attitude and skills. Attitude and skills.
Skills. So now our computer scoring is based on text the data. So if your assessment is about the attitude and skills based on text, it should be right. But if the usually in attitude attitude is okay, but skill like what is the can you tell me the example of the question? Like skill means what like you microscope skill or experiment skill. You mean the skill like how to make the prep product? Like a real like hands-on skill, or what is skill?
Yeah, it's just like that, the psychomotor. So it means that how to use.
Then it's not very useful for AI, but later because these days vision like a picture and text is the data that the AI can use. But as we can see, the automatic driving system, maybe later we can. But for example, like the camera can checking there is something in front of car or not, like a driving line. But existing or not, they can the AI can differentiate existing or not. But like skill is very like complicated in the behavior, right? So you understand? So I don't know much about what you mean about skill, but if it is about like a student behavior, like performance, then very hard. But think about like their presentations, communication. AI can do that. Like your speed, like explaining speed, your communication is clear, your pronunciation is clear. Now AI already can be now they're used in the English speaking, right? So these are good. It's okay, but like experimenting, those scale, it might be hard, but yeah.
Yap. Oke, jadi jelas ya Pak Yuk ya. Jadi untuk AI ini untuk bahasa Inggris kan sudah banyak dikembangkan untuk face recognition, kemudian pronunciation recognition gitu. Jadi AI sudah banyak. Jadi nanti untuk karena kalau keterampilan kan tidak hanya keterampilan berpikir tapi keterampilan bertindak. So it's not only thinking skill but only behavior. So communication, how to pronounce something, bagaimana menjelaskan tentang evolusi misalnya. Jadi hal-hal seperti itu ada penekanan-penekanan yang AI sudah bisa melakukannya. Nah, sikap nanti dikembangkan. So hopefully this 2019 students cohort could what we call it expand the research for the skripsi. Jadi for your final what we call it thesis ya, for the thesis. Jadi sudah bisa mulai menyentuh hal-hal yang seperti ini. Jadi tidak hanya yang biasa-biasa saja, skripsinya nanti sudah harus ke AI, sudah harus ke virtual reality, ya kan, augmented reality, termasuk sampai open-ended assessment yang dari Prof Minsu tadi. Jadi sudah harus step forward gitu. Because we have Prof Minsu has already explained about the open-ended automatic scoring, computer scoring. Okay, and then that's all for this. The first meeting with Professor Minsu in our guest lecture session. So next week you should also come at the same time, right, on Saturday. And Minsu, do you have any maybe one sentence as a what you want to talk next week? Just only one sentence.
So this is the question. So next week is the same participant, right?
Yes.
Oh, so I need to prepare another. This is actually what I sent to you to you. So in the same presentation, but still I have.
Yeah.
So maybe next week I will show the second version of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, I will introduce, old system, and then actually I'm still interested in, when we finish this work, maybe we can work together to make the Indonesian version of the system.
Yeah.
So I will introduce like how teacher can use this system and this step. Already I have the make a record. I will show the new characters and and so next week I will do that.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. That's the sneak peek, right? Sneak peek from Professor Minsu. What will going on next week? So please I will send the material from today class, and then please study more and then read more, and then you can have more understanding about this topic. And then next week, please you can participate more in discussion, hopefully. Ya, jadi gitu ya. Nanti saya share materialnya dari Prof Minsu sehingga nanti teman-teman bisa belajar dan minggu depan bisa lebih blended dengan materinya supaya masuk betul di heart and mind. Okay?
Okay.
Before we close the session, we should have a photo session. So please everybody make your camera on. I will have a photo session today. Okay. So we have 4 pages now. The first page. Oh, there is a buut. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is 1, 2, 3 in Indonesia, Minsu.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure
So
that you know.
can you do again? I know.
I have EFOS.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All right. The third page. Oke, ayo dinyalain semua. 1, 2, 3. Ayo, jangan umpetan. Ini kalau umpetan juga terfoto loh ya. 1, 2, 3. Oke, terima kasih semuanya. Thank you very much, Minsu, for your time, for the very interesting sharing for our students.
See you next week, Saturday.
Okay, see you next week, Minsu.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Greeting for all families there. Thank you very much. Pak Ayis, thank you very much, Bu Ut, and
Thank you very
96 mahasiswa.
Aziz, yeah. See you.
Oke. Ya. Terima kasih semuanya bisa melanjutkan aktivitas. Minggu depan kita ketemu lagi ya dengan Prof Minsu. Materi nanti saya kirimkan jadi supaya kalian bisa tambah kaya materinya minggu depan bisa lebih banyak bertanya. Jadi nanti bisa tambah membaca jurnal juga kalau misalnya memang belum banyak dikembangkan automatic scoring ini hal baru dan nanti skripsinya kalau bisa sudah mengarah ke sana. Assessment. Jadi tidak hanya cuman penelitian yang biasa-biasa saja tapi sudah luar biasa sehingga nanti publikasi. Kalau sudah publikasinya bagus karena risetnya bagus, publikasi bisa dapat Cinta A atau Scopus gitu, terindeks Scopus, kalian nggak harus sidang skripsi. Dengan publikasi bisa lulus tanpa sidang skripsi. Itu nanti. Jadi nggak pakai sidang-sidang. Oke ya. Terima kasih semuanya. Saya tak exit full screen dulu. Pak Ais, Bu Ut, terima kasih. Nanti minggu depan langsung bergabung lagi.
Siap, Bu Nurma.
Link yang sama.
Thank you.
Di linknya yang sama.
Iya, terima kasih. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih semuanya. Selamat weekend semuanya ya.
Ya, terima kasih.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Elis kirimin catatan.